There are stories of ordinary people who, for some unknown reason, have an amazing and uncanny ability in one specific area, such as music or art. Today, we're going to tell you the story of one Appalachian man, beloved in his hometown, who was a mathematical genius, even though he couldn't read or write. Hello, folks. I'm Steve Gilly, along with Rod Mullins, and this is another one of the stories of Appalachia.
Steve, when we talk about somebody like this, we generally regard them as, I guess, the word is savant to a certain degree is what they are. And these people, of course, like you mentioned, math, music, art, they can pick up things, all these different things. But, it kind of reminds me of the movie. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman, Rain Man. It of reminds me of this, being able to be a walking encyclopedia. These people have such wide range of abilities. It's kind of hard to comprehend sometimes.
Well, this is a very interesting story. I mean, this fellow was beloved in his hometown. Mm-hmm. And actually, we got clued into this story from one of our listeners who happens to be a truck driver and listens to our podcasts out on the road. He said that his father had known this fella and had given me a little bit of information about him, and I did a little research on this and found a very fascinating story that we're going to tell today.
Why don't we give a salute to our gentleman, the truck driver, who sent us this and gave us this information to go on, because, like you said, this is an interesting story.
It is, and the story is about a man named Alvin Goins, who was born on September the 14th, 1903, in the Brown Rock section of Graysville. He lived a humble life as a day laborer in the rural part of Rhea County. Now, he was part of the local Melungeon community that was found there, a group with a rich history and unique heritage found here in Appalachia. Growing up as the youngest of about 9 children and several half-siblings, Alvin's childhood was filled with exploration and curiosity. But tragically, Alvin's life took a turn at a young age when he suffered a life-changing injury. At just 5 years old, a mule's kick to the head left him severely injured, causing him to lose the opportunity to learn how to read and write. And that's terrible, but he did sort of make up for it with this ability that he had, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, these life-changing events, either good or bad, fate in this case had something else in store for Alvin. Despite his illiteracy, he discovered an incredible aptitude for numbers. Now, with a passion for ciphering and a remarkable ability to perform complex calculations in his head, Alvin became renowned as an illiterate mathematical genius in Rhea County. Now, folks there were in awe of his talent, and his abilities were put to the test on numerous occasions. One of his remarkable feats was estimating the exact number of days that elapsed since someone's birth, given their day, month, and year of birth. This gift was demonstrated to many people he encountered, including a woman who was writing a book about the Melungeons. Jean Patterson Bible interviewed Alvin for her book and confirmed the accuracy of his figures right down to the last digit.
Wow.
Well, Alvin worked as a laborer in several sawmills in southeast Tennessee, cutting logs into lumber. He also landed some jobs on projects for the Tennessee Valley Authority, including Fontana Dam. He also worked at a sawmill in the new town of Oak Ridge when it was being built. It was said that he could accurately figure the amount of board, feet of lumber on a truck loaded with logs just by looking at them. That takes a remarkable amount of talent to be able to go and see beyond those logs and to see how many pieces of board they're going to be able to get out of something once they run it through. That's just unreal.
The calculations you have to do that is just amazing. Yeah. Well, on one occasion, Mr. Goins was working for a man building a brick building. The contractors involved were trying to figure out how many bricks to order to complete the project. But they were having trouble making the calculations, with their calculators and slide rules and all that. Alvin simply asked for the dimensions of the building, how many windows and doors are going to be put into it, and the sizes of those windows and doors. He pondered on that for a few minutes, then told them the number of bricks they'd need to order. Well, the contractors thought about it and, well, not having any success with their own calculations, just said, what the heck, and ordered the number of bricks per Alvin's calculations. Alvin Goins was off by 3 bricks. Not that this amazing ability mattered, though. Once his employers found out he was illiterate, Alvin was fired, regardless of how good a job he had been doing.
Wow. What a way of discriminating against someone just because. I mean, I know by the legal thing of, well, do you have a high school education? Do you have an education and so forth? But he was being able to be this close and accurate with what he was doing with his numbers and his figures. Just incredible. But Alvin's mathematical brilliance wasn't the only facet of his life that intrigued those who knew him. He had an intimate knowledge of the mountains and coal-rich areas around Graysville that he eagerly explored, a typical pastime for Melungeon youth in those days. Despite his solitary nature, Alvin formed strong bonds with the people of Rhea County. One of his closest friends was the Rhea County registrar, who read and interpreted his letters for him. With his trademark heavy coat, worn spring, summer, fall, and winter, and which served as his mobile filing cabinet, Alvin frequented the courthouse, always accompanied by his trusted friend. As the last of the original family, Alvin lived independently in his project apartment, embracing his 86 years with a sharp mind and a determined spirit. His fierce independence and honesty earned him the respect and admiration of his community.
In the latter years of his life, Alvin faced health challenges and spent some time in the Rhea County nursing home. However, true to his nature, he couldn't bear the confinement and returned to his apartment, where neighbors and the people of Dayton offered kindness and assistance. And that's where he died, 2 days shy of his 87th birthday on September 12, 1990. Alvin Goins' life is a testament to the resilience and resourcefulness of the Appalachian people. And despite adversity, he became a revered figure in Rhea County, leaving an indelible impression on those who crossed paths with him and loved him very much.
Alvin was more than just a mathematical genius. He was a living embodiment of the spirit and heritage of Appalachia, where these rugged mountains make rugged people, imbued with wisdom and a unique way of life. And Steve, once that I think about this, there were probably people around me when I was growing up or, even into my later years that I've known that have been savants, or at least could be classified as savants. And I think of someone never officially classified as a savant, but I think of my wife's grandmother. And she could go and she knew dates of celebrities, knew the birth dates, knew the day they died, how old they were at that time, what movies they were in at different things like that. Remembered things like it was just a Rolodex, and she could just go to it immediately. She was never formally diagnosed with anything like that, but, my wife and I have talked about this before, and we've said, maybe she was. But they're unique people, and, I know some of them don't like to be treated so special, but in this case, Alvin was treated very special by the people of Rhea County.
There are a lot of people that have talents, like you said. There are people that I've heard of, don't know them, but heard of, that you could tell them, here's a date. Mm-hmm. And they could tell you what day of the week it was on. I mean, like, bam, instantly.
I've heard of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and this fellow was sort of like that. I mean, I cannot imagine just sitting there and looking at some bricks and thinking about it for a few minutes and then said, oh, you need to buy X number of bricks, and just be off by 3 freaking bricks, That's just amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing, too, that we're taking it another step further. There are people that can go and look at a piece of wood. They can design something out almost perfectly the way that they want it to be, And they don't even have to have plans. They don't have to have anything in front of them. They can just go. They figure it out by the way that, how many studs you put in between, for your walls and so forth. But they can bring something to life like this just by simply looking at a piece of wood and saying, okay, this is what I intend to do, or how I intend to do it. Now, is there, a learning curve with it? Yeah, I'm sure there's a learning curve with it, but still at the same time, it's just something that's fascinating about a lot of people. And, I've been around a lot of people before that's been unique in so many different ways about things like this. And listening to this story, it just proves that this man really knew his numbers.
And that, folks, is the story of a beloved member of the Rhea County, Tennessee community, Alvin Goins, another one of the stories of this place we call home, Appalachia. Thanks for listening. Now, if you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to the Stories Podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartMedia, Spreaker, Audible, or on your favorite podcast app. We're also on TikTok at Stories of Appalachia and on Instagram at Story Appalachia, with short video stories of Appalachian history and folklore. Till next we meet, y'all take care. So long, everybody.